All right, let's get into it. Today, we're ringside for a huge showdown in the JavaScript world. In one corner, you've got the reigning champion, the runtime that's been powering server-side JavaScript for more than a decade, Node.js. And in the other corner, you've got the challenger, the lightning-fast, all-in-one toolkit that's really shaking things up, Bun. So let's see how these two actually stack up. If you're a JavaScript developer, this quote, it probably feels a little too real, right? We've all been there, waiting forever for an install, fighting with config files. It's kind of felt like the price of admission for a long time. But what if it didn't have to be that way? That's really the big promise of this new challenger. So, before we really dive in, let's get a proper tale of the tape. Both of these are for server-side JavaScript, but as you're about to see, their core ideas about how you should build software, well, they're worlds apart. Okay, so on one side, we have Node.js. It's built on Google's V8 engine, the same powerhouse that's inside Chrome. It's been around since 2009, has a ginormous ecosystem, and it is the definition of battle-tested. Then you've got Bun. It's built on JavaScript Core, which is the engine from Safari, and its whole deal is being an all-in-one toolkit. We're talking the runtime, a package manager, a test runner, everything, all baked into one single tool. All right, it is time for the main event. We're going to break this down into 3 rounds. First, raw speed. Then, developer experience, what it's actually like to use. And finally, we'll get into reliability and the ecosystem. Let's kick things off with the one thing that has everybody talking, pure unadulterated speed. This is Bun's big claim to fame, but let's actually look at the numbers and see just how big of a deal it really is. Okay, now just look at this chart. For a typical web server, this is what matters. Node.js clocks in around 13,000 requests a second. Pretty good. But Bun on the exact same hardware is hitting nearly 52,000. That's not a small improvement, that's a 4x performance boost. For a high-traffic API, that is an absolute game changer. And this isn't just about handling web traffic. For tasks that really hammer the CPU, like heavy calculations, a job that takes Node.js about 3.5 seconds is done by Bun in just 1.7. It's literally twice as fast. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. The hype around Bun's performance, it's absolutely real. So raw speed is fantastic for your servers. But what about the day-to-day grind of actually writing the code? Well, that brings us to round 2, developer experience. How does it actually feel to build something with these tools? With Node.js, the philosophy is very modular. It's like you're building your toolchain with Legos. You start a project, then you go find all the pieces. You install React, then you add TypeScript, then a bundler like Vite, then a test runner like Jest. You're suddenly managing 5 or more separate tools, and they all have their own configurations to worry about. It's super flexible, but man, it's a lot of setup. And then you have Bun's approach, which is a completely different way of thinking. Instead of you assembling the tools, Bun is the tool. Everything's already in there. You start a new project, and the bundler and test runner, they're just there, ready to go. This isn't about giving you a million choices. It's about giving you velocity. It's designed to get you from an empty folder to a running app in as few steps as possible. And a huge part of that amazing experience is this right here. Bun runs TypeScript files natively. You don't need an extra package like TS Node. There's no separate build step you have to run and wait for. You just type bun run index.ts and it just works instantly. This one thing dramatically shrinks your feedback loop and makes development feel so much faster. But look, speed isn't everything. For our final round, we have to talk about the things that really matter when an app goes live: reliability and the ecosystem. And this is where Node.js has a solid decade-long head start. So the Node Package Manager, NPM, has millions of packages. If you need to do something, chances are there's a library for it. Now, Bun's goal is to be a drop-in replacement, and for most popular packages, it works great. But it's not 100%. Some of the more niche packages or ones with deep C++ bindings can still cause problems. That's a risk you just don't have in the matured Node.js world. This also extends to how you actually write the code. Node's core APIs, like its HTTP module, are super stable, but they kind of show their age. They reflect an older way of doing things. Bun, on the other hand, got to build on modern web standards, like the Fetch API. What that means for you is that the code you write for a Bun server looks almost identical to code you'd write for the browser. It creates a much more consistent experience. So, after 3 rounds, who's the winner? Well, the truth is, there isn't one.
The right choice really depends on what kind of project you're building. So let's break down the judge's scorecard to help you decide.
The case for Node.js really comes down to one word: stability. You stick with the champion when you have a large existing code base. It's the right call when you're in an enterprise setting where long-term support is non-negotiable, or when your whole business relies on some obscure, niche NPM module. It's the proven, reliable, and safe bet. So, when do you pick the challenger? You go with Bun when speed and productivity are what you care about most. It absolutely shines for new projects, especially if you're using TypeScript. Its incredibly fast startup times are perfect for serverless functions, and its raw power is ideal for performance-critical apps. It's the choice for when you want to move as fast as possible. The final bell has rung, but the most important outcome of this fight isn't really about which runtime comes out on top. It's about what this competition means for the future of JavaScript for all of us. Because the real winner here is the developer. This rivalry is pushing the entire ecosystem to get better. Bun's innovation is forcing Node.js to evolve and add things like better TypeScript support. At the same time, Node stability is forcing Bun to mature and improve its compatibility. So no matter which one you choose, your tools are getting better, faster, and easier to use. And that really just leaves the final question for you. When you're planning your next application, which way are you going to go? Will you choose the proven reliability of the long-standing champion, or are you going to bet on the incredible velocity and raw power of the new contender? The choice is yours.